So you want to be a songwriter. You think that you might be the next Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish, maybe Billy Joel. You want to learn how to do that. And you've been on YouTube and you've seen all these videos about the secrets to writing a great song, the secrets to doing this, the secrets to doing that. And for the most part, these people are pretty much right in a lot of the things that they say, but I'm going to do things a little bit differently here. I kind of have uh, not 100 songs, but I promised myself that I would create a songbook, a book of songs for my kids. The songs that I've written. I'm not gonna be able to give them a house or a car or something to leave after I'm gone, so, and there won't be millions of dollars in the bank for my kids. But what I can do is leave them a bit of their father's creativity. Now, what I'm going to do here and now is I'm gonna, rather than try and teach you how to write a song, I'm gonna break down the songs that I've written, and I've written somewhere around 65 songs. Yeah, 60, yeah, about 65 songs or so. Now, these songs are not pop, or I would, if anything, I would consider them to be country music songs. So they aren't going to be in competition with what The Weeknd does, or what Bruno Mars does, or what Taylor Swift does, or they would be on more on the line of what Gordon Lightfoot or Jim Croce, s- similar to that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a song and then I'm going to go through each verse and then explain each verse. And then if the verse needs an explanation or something like that, then maybe I'll give an explanation, maybe not. Depends. Sometimes some things are self-explanatory, right? So there's not really a reason to give an explanation when it's just crystal clear that it's what it is. I hate that phrase. It is what it is. But the point I'm going to make here is that when you're writing a song, because a lot of the songs I've written in 1 minute to 15 minutes. Maybe most of the time I've spent on any song is a half an hour. But this doesn't mean that I've written thousands of songs, and I will never have claimed to have written thousands of songs. I've seen so many videos on TikTok, YouTube, and other places where people claim that they have written thousands of songs. I find this crazy. This is like Pablo Picasso painting thousands of pictures, which he probably has done, but he's done it over a period of 30 years or 40 years. But these people are in their early 20s claiming to have written 3,000 or 4,000 songs. I gotta tell you, if you've written 4,000 or 3,000 songs, then you're not writing songs. You're just writing. They aren't songs because you can't release or promote or even sing 10,000 songs at the age of 27. This is a clear impossibility. And so, what I decided to do was try and help people out by going through the process of rhyming, rhyming words together. I'm not going to give these things any particular music school names, like pentatonic and scales and things. I'm not going to use words like this when I give these explanations. I'm just because I'm not trained. I've never been to music school. I'm not trained to be a musician. I've only been doing this for 3 years. I think the first song I wrote was 2.5 years ago. But the thing is that songwriting is easy. Getting your music out, getting a good song out there, that's the hard part. When you are admiring Taylor Swift or Madonna or anybody else, songwriting is easy. I mean, you can. You can write a song about anything. Now, to write a song that you want to sing is hard. To write a song that has lyrics in it that will be remembered by you when you're singing, that you can't forget the lyrics because the lyrics are such a so much a part of your mental makeup that you can't forget the lyrics. Again, I will forget the lyrics to my own songs all the time. So, but when you dig into a song and you find out, hey, yeah, I wrote this song. This is a beautiful song. You get on TikTok and say, I think I wrote the greatest song ever. You don't think that. I mean, it's not gonna do you any harm, but it's not definitely not going to do you any good if you think that what you've written is the greatest song ever. Because people that have written the greatest songs ever never thought while they were sitting down writing those songs that this will be the greatest song ever. If you get that mental set, then you won't be able to do anything correctly. And that's also a thing, correctness, doing things correctly. Now, when I say correctly, I mean to completion. Now, a lot of songs are written in, like I said, in just a few minutes. I mean, if you ask Billie Eilish or Taylor Swift how long did it take them to write a song, they will say 15 minutes, 10 minutes. They will write a song. But to come back to that song and make improvements on it, look at the lyrics again and decide on different rhyming and singing the song and then saying that the song has the words, the lyrics create a clear melody. Because I don't write melodies and then write lyrics on top of the melody. I write the lyrics first. And then when I'm singing through the lyrics, then the melody creates itself. So when when you hear some of my songs, I might I might be accompanying myself on the guitar, but I don't have any particular chord progressions or notes that I have to play just for that particular song. I might play it differently. I might do some. If you do, if it would take a little demonstration here, just so you don't get bored with me talking. If I took something like somewhere over the rainbow, the that's just words. And if I try and sing that same thing, somewhere, you hear that? It's somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. And this is so when I'm playing the guitar, then I try and find finger positions and strum positions that go along with that. But the main part is just getting the lyrics down on paper. And I do say paper. If you write your songs directly into digital format or do it in Word or something like that, then you're not gonna get this because the ideas for songs come in places where you just don't have a laptop. Ideas for songs, ideas for lyrics come in places where you just don't have access to digital equipment where you can write a complete song out. But a pen and paper is a very simple thing. You just grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, scratch it out, and you're done. You know, you now the way I got this idea of doing this is from listening to Tupac in his interviews about how he wrote songs. And the thing about Tupac, he said, if you want to become a great songwriter, you want to be a great rapper, then you should always have a notebook with you. And this is what I do. I have a notebook with me almost 100%. If I leave the house, if I leave the apartment, and I go outside, then I take a small notebook or a big notebook with me and a pencil with an eraser and an ink pen. Because after I do something in pencil, then I want to make it darker and more clear for my old eyes to see. And so I do that. And Tupac is one that led me to doing this. So, yeah, that's the first thing about songwriting. Now, I'm gonna take a song here, and this song is first. I'm gonna talk about premise. The premise of this song is one day I was going through YouTube and I noticed that every video that I watched, every video in my stream on YouTube was about music theory. And I was like, wait a minute, hold it. I've never been to music school. I don't know any music theory. I barely paid attention when they told me that one day, hey, we want some kids to learn instruments, and I talked my mother into buying me a clarinet. And I got bored with it immediately because that means I have to go to school to learn the clarinet and everything else. So yeah, I I quit that pretty quickly. I moved on to something else. I decided that yeah, playing an instrument, violin, clarinet, and stuff like that, to me back then was boring. So if you're gonna, I wrote this song because I just thought, why do you need music theory? And that was the premise of this song. It's called Music Theory. Now I'm gonna give you the first verse here. I'm gonna try not to sing. I'm just gonna try and give you the words, and then maybe after this, at the end of this video, then I will sing the song straight through, just so you have some entertainment that you can look forward to at the end. Okay, music theory starts out with the first lines of the song being here. Here's one man's point of view, my point of view, because I was watching these videos and I was like, yeah, but I have a different point of view about music theory. So So the first line is, here's one man's point of view, that one man being me. And then the second line, have a seat. I've got words for you. Okay, so yeah. So I'm telling people, yeah, I have a point of view and I would like you to hear my point of view. So take a seat and listen to me for a second. And then if you're a musician, okay, so I'm talking to musicians. The sounds of life are more than a tradition. And this comes is because almost all music is written from the things that are surround us, the environment around us. But a lot of people seem to think that um, because their father or their uncle or their idol wrote music and wrote a song, then that's that's the way their music or their sound should be. So the sound of life is more than a tradition. And then that's the first verse. Here's one, and now I'm gonna sing the verse. Here's one man's point of view. Have a seat, well, I've got words for you. If you're a musician, the sounds of life are more than a tradition. Hold on while I explain why. So again, so that was the first verse. And then the next verse is this: understanding the theory of music is a waste. Because I honestly think that you knowing music theory, you knowing the chords and the progression notes and everything else is unnecessary. I think music school is a waste. That if you're gonna learn how to play music, if you're gonna play with the orchestra, if you're gonna become a classical musician, that's great. And because you have to learn how to play along with other people. You go to school to learn theory so that you can learn to hear things that other people are doing. But in this song I'm talking about just being a musician, just being someone that likes to make music, write lyrics without all of the other stuff, kind of like being a painter. I mean, you could go to school and become go to school to become an artist, but you can also just sit at home, pick up some watercolors, and just kind of, eh, I'm gonna paint a picture and just put some color on a piece of paper. And that's the same thing with music. You can just sit down and write a song. You don't have to learn theory. You don't have to learn notes and chords. You can just sit down and write a song. So yeah, understanding the theory of music is a waste. And now we come to critical one of the critical parts, because as I'm going through this, that I see mistakes I've made while writing, because I wrote down understanding a theory of music is a waste when it should be the theory of music, because that's the way you speak. And so if I leave that word a in there, then I will forget to sing it because it's out of place. So I'm changing that now with my trusty pen. I'm changing that now to understanding the theory of music is a waste. And then it goes into, and you shouldn't even try. Okay, and this is why I don't sing this song, and this is why I'm giving this song as an example, is because as I'm going through these verses and everything else, I'm finding out that there's not enough rhyme. The lyrics are there, but there's not enough rhyme in there to grab a hold of the audience's attention. So this first verse and the lead into the second verse, I'm definitely going to change. I'm going to sit down and just kind of like, yeah, hey, this word waste, I will need a word that rhymes with waste, or and rhyming is another thing that we will talk about in another video. So this kind of gives you an idea. Now I'm gonna I'm gonna sing through the whole song now, but I wanted to kind of give you the idea without making this video like 2 hours long, filled with stuff that you will probably never. Yeah, I mean, you'll probably just scroll by or go on to the next video. I don't want to make it too boring. So so now I'm giving you kind of an explanation of what I do. I'm gonna kind of sing through it and then stop singing through it to explain to you what the verses mean if it's not that clear. Here's one man's point of view. Have a seat while I explain. Even right now, okay, I wrote have a seat. I've got words for you. When and then I have at the bottom here, hold on while I explain why. Okay, but what I really should have done is this. I should have said, here's one man's point of view. Have a seat while I explain it to you. That would have been better. And what that does is that eliminates one line of lyrical text at, while pushing them together. I had excuse me. I had have a seat. I've got words for you. Hold on while I explain why. But I'm gonna push those two things together and say, have a seat while I explain it to you. So I'm eliminating the hold on while I explain why, and just moving up the parts of that up to have a seat while I explain it to you. Yeah, I'm gonna cough, mostly because the air in Germany is very dry right now, and speaking and everything else. Get something to drink here. But this is a process. This is a songwriting process. It's not just accepting what you've written, because I wrote this song on the 8th of May last year, and I haven't looked at it again since until now, where I'm making this video. And so now that I've explained this a little bit, how I move stuff around and eliminate things, never be afraid to take a song that you think is finished and then go back over it and just eliminate some things. A lot, a lot of songs I think are too short because they don't. I have this thing that songs should always be somewhere around 4 minutes long as you sing them. I mean, a lot of people they use melodies and everything else, and beats and background beats and everything else, and what that does is it kind of makes a song a certain length. But I kind of have my own personal rule of, yeah, when I'm singing a song, I want to hold people's attention for 4 minutes at least. And if I can write a good enough set of lyrics that will hold their attention for 7 minutes or 8 minutes, then it's a really good set of lyrics. Because holding someone's attention for 10 minutes for any song is almost impossible. I mean, if you think about some of the great songwriters and some of the great songs that you've listened to, almost none of them are going to be in the 7 minute, 8 minute range. There might be some exceptions to the rule that where they go into 14 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. But this is mostly instrumental interludes in between the verses, and so the instrumentals cause the song to last longer. But if I'm singing a song with me, just me and the guitar, then 4 minutes, between 4 and 5 minutes, that's long enough. And if it lasts too long, and I think that it would sound better or hold people's attention more if it was shorter, then I will make it shorter. I will start eliminating things that I put in as thoughts, thinking that, hey, this is going to be a good thing to have. But when you go back to it a few months later, then it, yeah, it sounds weird, or you just can't sing it. And this is also leads into another thing. How long does it take to write a song? 10 minutes, half hour, like they say, but the song itself is may not be completely finished because I wrote this last year in May, but it's today in January, 6 months later, that I picked the song up again, and then I'm going to rewrite it. That means that what I wrote back in May thinking that it was completed is not complete. It's it was just an interlude, a temporary format. Because now, as I explained to you, I'm going to change some lyrics around and everything else as I do it. And this, when I'm as I'm talking to you about this, I'm trying to explain to you the process that it goes through, the mental process that it takes to go through this stuff. Because when you see these YouTube videos that explain songwriting, these secrets and stuff like this, they don't explain the mental process that is necessary for you to create something, because a song is like when you paint a picture. You know, when you're doing a picture and you're gonna paint a picture, first you draw the outlines with a pencil, and then yeah, this is gonna be here. You have placement and everything else, and yeah, I'm gonna put this down here and this. You haven't decided upon color or anything like that, unless you're doing it from a photograph. But if you're gonna paint a picture, you have to have some kind of guidelines. And what I have here right now, this song music theory right now, is a guideline. This song as it sits is nothing more than a pencil sketch of a complete picture. And so if I'm gonna go into making a painting, then I have to carry it over to the next layer. I have to decide on what colors I'm gonna use, and then um, go into the next layer of colors. And this is what you do with visual arts. Yeah, no painting is done in uh, line for like a dot matrix or a laser jet printer where it goes zit, 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 and it creates a picture. Picture Pictures are painted in layers, and songs are written in layers. The first layer if you decide that, hey, I'm going to make a pencil drawing of something, and then you go, well, hey, that pencil drawing is so good, I don't think I'm going to put paint on it, then that's great. And if I had written a song that was a clear pencil drawing, then I would say, okay, I would leave that alone and just keep singing it. But this song right here is like it needs more. It needs more rearrangement. It needs to be erased, and then yeah, the anatomy checked, and it needs to be erased, and the rivers that flow this way and the mountains and everything else. Let's erase that mountain and instead put it in a grassy knoll instead of a mountain. And this is a process that you go through. Now, this video is getting to be a little bit long, so if you think that this is a good idea, that you want to hear more about the songwriting process, I'm going to go through a lot of my songs on this YouTube channel, and so it'll give you a chance to, yeah, kind of learn along with me. I'm not saying that I know everything, but I know what I know. So to end this in this part of this, I'm because now I'm getting tired from speaking. My throat's dry and I'm running out of things. I don't have a script, so so everything comes straight from my skull. And so what happens is sometimes I might get a little bit thirsty, and my mind might go blank. Now, my mind going blank is what people typically call writer's block, but I don't call it writer's block. What it is that the thought process I had in my head is completed, and so the next part of the thought process will happen some other time in the future. This is not a block. This means that yeah, I need to quit what I'm doing and then come back to it later on. And this is also something to think about when you're writing a song, that you have to be willing to let go. So let's I'm going to end this video by just going through this terribly written song from May and see if it makes any sense to you, and then I'll do another video later on of the song after I've rewritten it. Here's one man's point of view. Have a seat, I've got words for you. If you're a musician, the sounds of life are more than a tradition. The sounds of life are more than a tradition. That line right there, I when I wrote it, it sounded good when I wrote it, but now I'm hating it. So I would probably eliminate that. Hold on while I explain why. Understanding the theory of music is a waste. Also, understanding the theory of music is a waste. Waste is one of those words that's it needs a rhyme. It needs some. Understanding the theory of music is a waste. It needs an explanatory line underneath it. Otherwise, a rhyme to kind of bring the listener in. But we'll keep going. And you shouldn't even have to try. Since the dawn of time, when we had no words to rhyme, people have always had songs to sing, even without guitars and bells that ring. Tribal voices did hum to the beat of a hollow tree drum. I like that. Tribal voices did hum to the beat of a hollow tree drum. Men have always had songs to be sung, even before bells were rung. Okay, so now we get into some. That was a good line right there. Men have always had songs to be sung, even before bells are rung. this goes back to the thing where I talking about music theory, that people made music and enjoyed music before music theory even existed. Before people were before people discovered violins and bells and other things and tonal instruments, then they still sang songs, and they would just tap on a piece of wood and sing a song. And a lot of people do that nowadays also. And so I incorporated that into this song. Songs to break your heart, songs to heal the mind that parts. Music has been around since the start. No one told us what we shared was art. Yeah, so that okay, this songs to heal the minds that part. Music has been around since the start. Okay, these lines need to be rearranged because they're just too difficult to sing. It's difficult to keep that visualization in your head, so the lyrics need to be moved around so that the visualization of what you're singing can be there. And this is what I don't see in modern music today. Visualization. Because when I'm writing a song, in order for me to not have to have a problem singing it, I have to be able to visualize the pictures that the song is painting. And if the lyrics are in a arrangement where the visualization is not there, then I need to redo that particular section. So I will redo that section. The songs that made us less weary, made our lives less dreary. It's self-explanatory. And if the clock was turned back, we have to understand the fact. Hard to sing. And if the clock was turned back, we have to understand the fact. And it should be that fact, not the fact. So, because thinking about, there's also this thing with grammar. A lot of songs nowadays, not only do they lack visualization, they lack grammar. And there's when people hear music, there's an expectation of what they are going to hear next. And if you have something that is out of place, then they will automatically hear it as being bad sound. Not that it's a wrong lyric, but if I sang we have to understand, and if the clock was turned back, we have to understand the fact. If that grammar mistake right there would be a problem, because I would, as I'm singing it, I would hear it as being a bad grammar, and so it would keep it would I would just stop. I mean, I can't sing that. That sounds stupid. So then I have to change that. And if the clock was turned back, we have to understand that fact. So that would be better. So now, but now when I go down, I see, if we have to, and if the clock was turned back, we have to understand the fact that there was no such thing as music theory. Yeah, there's a disconnect right there. No counting from 1, 2, 3. You see, there were no numbers back then. No counting from 1, 2, 3. There were no numbers back then, you see. Now those lines go together, but there's a disconnect between this we have to understand the fact and there was no music theory. So I will have to rewrite those lines. Now, as I sing through a lot of the stuff, there's a lot of things that happen when your mood changes. A lot of things. So I wrote this song down in my book, and then I was in a particular mood, and that mood that I was in at the time allowed certain grammatical mistakes and certain placement mistakes to sound good to me because I was happy. I was filled with dopamine. So anything that I wrote down, anything that I sang, sounded good to me. But now, as I look at it again, a few months later, I can see like, yeah, what I wrote there was stupid. Well, I hope this kind of explains the songwriting process to you. I'm gonna kind of, well, I'm gonna title these videos with episode one, episode two, three, four, five, so that if you want to jump around, because I do a lot of other stuff in between while I'm writing and everything else, and so you might see videos in between, and so in order for on a YouTube channel, in order for you to find the videos that are connected to each other, I will use the episode format. Well, that's the end of this video for right now, but like I said, I'm gonna end it with something. But I'm not gonna end it with this song because this is absolutely terrible song. As it sits, it's just absolutely terrible. So I'm gonna uh, sing something else that's somebody else's song to end this video. And who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. Absorbent and yellow and porous is he. SpongeBob SquarePants. If nautical nonsense is something you wish, SpongeBob SquarePants, then drop to the deck and flop like a fish.